What aspirations did you have as a child?
That's an excellent question because I really don't know. Because when I was in high school, like I said before, my whole thing about going to school was that was my social group. It really wasn't so much for school. It was, I mean, I was an average student, but I mean, it wasn't like I was going to school in order to uh, go into a profession. I really just kind of went to school because I had to go to school and it was a place I could go to visit with people. And because we lived out in the country, so I didn't have any what I could call neighbor friends. You couldn't go down the street to a friend that was in the neighborhood because we lived out in the middle of the country, and it was like, you know, you had to go to school. That's where your friends were. So, so when I got out of high school, really, I talked to a teacher at Marshall because I graduated from Marshall, and he recommended that because he was a VOE, a vocational education teacher, he sent me to a dentist office, and I applied there and got that job, and I was a chairside dental assistant. And so that kind of, I thought I was going in that direction, but ended up not going in that direction, ended up being a secretary at school. So
Did your parents ever tell you about any memories of theirs about you as a child?
no, not really. I mean, we would talk about things, but no, not really. I mean, I don't think so. Um, I mean, as at family gatherings, you know, there would always be the constant, you know, remember when you did whatever, you know, but it really wasn't, I mean, we really weren't talking about it. I mean, it was just something that would come up at table conversation or something, you know, where you'd say, remember when you did, you know, that kind of thing. But it wasn't really talking about it. It was just more of conversation at a gathering. But yeah, it was
Did you ever have any recurring dreams that you remember?
only one. I think I remember when I was, I don't know, I'm going to say maybe middle or high school. I had a dream where a dog was chasing me. Never had that issue in real life. Never, never had a dog that I remember chase me. Never got bit by a dog. But for some reason, I had that dream that a dog was chasing me. But I don't know where it came from. I did one time buy a book, but it didn't explain why I had that issue. But yeah, that was the only one, and I can still remember it. And every once in a while, I think about that dream. But again, I've never had a bad experience with a dog. We had a dog growing up. I never had a bad experience, and I don't know why I would have that dream. But I had a dream of a dog chasing me, and it was a weird dream. The dog never got me in the dream. You know, it was just chasing me. I always got away. But I wasn't, even with that, I wasn't afraid of the dog, I don't think. I don't, it's been a long time. But I do remember having that dream of the dog chasing me. I don't know what that means.
What activities did you enjoy as an adolescent?
Actually, because again, we lived out in the outskirts of town, I didn't do a lot. Like, I didn't do what kids do today of gymnastics or soccer or any of that kind of stuff. So really the only thing I could say that I was probably truly involved in was a school activity, and that was choir. Again, I don't carry a tune in a bucket very well, but I did love choir. And I would do things after school with that, and I would do the trips that the choir took, and that was another fun part of being at school, was just being in choir and what goes along with all that. But so really, I didn't really have any other things that I did because of living so far out. And again, my mom and dad, at most of the time, only had one car. So if my dad took the car to go do something at work or whatever, and he worked at Randolph, and we lived out off of Interstate 10 in Camp Bullis, and if he had to take the car, then I didn't have a ride. My mom didn't have a car until later in my high school years. We ended up with 2 cars, and that's when I could do a little bit more. And
What would you guys do at home when Dad would leave?
Oh, I would ride my bike. We still got together with my Aunt Nancy. That's my mom's sister, and her 2 kids. Or at that point, she had 3 kids when I was later on in high school. And we always got together with them. And my uncle did a lot of things with us because of the fact we could, and we had land that we were on, and we could play baseball on it. We had a little baseball diamond set up where
Cool.
even he would go out and play baseball with us. But it was really more of hitting the ball and running around the bases. It really wasn't
Like a game.
like a game,
Mhm.
no. But I mean, it was something for us to do, but
Mhm.
there wasn't a lot for us to do because, again, we lived pretty far out. We kind of just made up what we wanted to do when we were doing it, and that was it. As kids, you know, we played stuff like hopscotch and kickball and that kind of stuff, but it wasn't.
Do you guys like sit and watch TV like we do today?
We don't, no.
No.
We hardly ever watch TV during the day. At night, we would.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where I got in the habit of watching the evening news, is
Mhm.
because that's something my parents always sat down to do, is watch the evening news.
Mm-hmm.
And because my dad was military, we ate dinner early
Mm.
because he was at home at 5 o'clock. I mean, you could set a clock to him coming home because there was no overtime, there was no nothing. It was just, he went to work at 7:30 and he was home at 5. And you could set a watch to him
Mhm.
because that's how it was. And we always ate between 5 and 5:30 because he came home. And then at 5:30 we would sit and watch the evening news. And that's just something that I still do today. And I
Mhm.
think